Winter is one of the best times of the year to visit the wetlands. As temperatures drop across northern Europe, thousands of birds arrive in the UK in search of food and shelter. And one of the most famous places to witness this spectacle is WWT Welney. Located in the heart of the Fens, Welney is renowned for its incredible winter wildlife, particularly its gatherings of swans, ducks and geese. Today, I'm exploring this fantastic reserve to see what wildlife we can find. Will we encounter some of Welney's famous winter visitors? Let's head out and find out. It didn't take long for the wildlife to start appearing. Before we'd even begun exploring the reserve itself, the feeders outside the visitor centre were already bustling with activity. Feeding stations like these can be excellent places to start a day of wildlife watching, especially during the winter months when birds are looking to make the most of every feeding opportunity. One of the first species we encountered was the house sparrow. Although often overlooked because they're so familiar, house sparrows are full of character. Watching them dart between the feeders, squabble over food, and constantly keep an eye out for danger is always entertaining. Despite being one of Britain's best known birds, house sparrows have declined significantly in many areas over recent decades, making every healthy flock an encouraging sight. The feeders were alive with movement as birds arrived and departed almost constantly, creating a perfect welcome to the reserve. It was a simple but enjoyable start to the day. And with the wetlands of Welney waiting beyond the visitor centre, there was plenty more wildlife still to come. From the visitor centre, we made our way to the main observatory, one of the best places at Welney for viewing the vast wetlands stretching out across the reserve. From here, the scale of the landscape becomes immediately apparent. Wide open water, expansive reed beds, and birds scattered across almost every section of the lagoon. Below the observatory sits the basement hide, a fantastic location that allows you to get closer to the birds and experience the reserve from a different perspective. Almost immediately, there was plenty to see. Among the stars of the reserve were the magnificent Hooper swans. These elegant winter visitors travel all the way from Iceland to spend the colder months in Britain. With their bright yellow and black bills and impressive wingspan, they are impossible to mistake for any other swan species. Watching them feed and interact with one another is always a highlight of any visit to Welney. Alongside the swans were plenty of other water birds. Potsherds drifted quietly across the water. The males with their rich chestnut heads and grey bodies stood out beautifully in the winter light. Nearby, grey-lag geese moved through the lagoon. These large geese are the ancestors of most domestic geese and remain one of Britain's most widespread goose species. And of course, there were mallards. Often overlooked because they're so familiar, mallards are actually stunning birds when viewed up close. Everything seemed calm. The ducks were feeding, the swans were resting, the wetlands felt peaceful. Then, suddenly, something caught my eye. A marsh harrier. Out of nowhere, it came crashing down towards the far side of the lagoon. For a few moments, all eyes seemed fixed on the bird of prey. Marsh harriers are one of Britain's most impressive raptors and have made a remarkable comeback after once being pushed to the brink of extinction. Watching one hunting over a wetland like this is always a special experience. Although the encounter was brief, it was undoubtedly one of the highlights of the day. After spending some time at the observatory and the basement hide, it was time to continue exploring. Our next destination was the Lisle Hide. The route there provided yet more opportunities for wildlife watching. As we walked through the reserve, flocks of widgeon could be seen feeding and resting on the wetlands. The males with their chestnut heads and cream foreheads are particularly attractive birds. One of the sounds most associated with winter wetlands is the distinctive whistling call of the widgeon. And before long, it became clear why they're often nicknamed the whistling duck. Also present were shell ducks. With their striking mix of white, chestnut and dark plumage, they are among Britain's most colourful water birds. Eventually, we arrived at the lower Hyde. Offering a different perspective across the reserve, this Hyde allowed us to scan more distant areas of the wetlands. One of the first species we spotted here was the northern shoveler. Named after its oversized spoon-shaped bill, this unusual duck filters food from the water using specialised structures in its mouth. It's one of the most distinctive ducks found in Britain. Nearby were more widgeon, distant hooper swans, and several Canada geese. Although some birds were a long way off, the sheer number of waterfowl visible from the Hyde was impressive. Looking across the reserve really highlighted the importance of places like Welney for wintering birds. As the afternoon progressed, there was one species we wanted to spend more time with, the hooper swan, so we headed back towards the basement Hyde for one final look. Back at the Hyde, the swans are as spectacular as ever. Some fed close to the windows, others glided gracefully across the water, and every so often birds would stretch their wings or interact with one another, creating fantastic photographic opportunities. These are the moments that make winter wildlife watching so rewarding. Being able to observe such magnificent birds at close range is an experience that is difficult to forget.